Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. Game number 2 of Evil Geniuses versus Vega Squadron set to get underway. Vega leading 1-0 in our final best of 3 of the evening. It's been a long day of Dota, but we've seen so many top-tier games, so many different heroes in only one day of Dota. It's quite incredible.
Yeah, last game was really crazy too. We thought for sure EG had the advantage. We all predicted EG to win, but once again, we were all wrong.
I absolutely underestimated Vega, 100%. When Ahaz said it was like 60-40, I was like, it sounds pretty generous, but Vega just looked in really solid form. They were aggressive, but controlled.
Yeah, I mean, this is what we saw at TI, though. The teams that played a lot coming into TI, that kept playing those officials, that really had that sort of battle season status going into the tournament were the ones that surprised. And it's not surprising to me that Vega took that game. It's surprising to me that they took it in the way they did.
Absolutely, and we're wasting no time here as we get right into the draft for game number 2. And well, a change of pace in the bans for the side of Vega Squadron, but EG sticking to their guns. Once again, Disruptor and the Wisp taken out of the pool.
I think they felt good about that previous game. It was just a couple little fights and ganks and things that didn't go as well as they expected. Like their laning stage was really good. They had lots of variability, and that's why we all thought that they were going to do so well. Like Sand King versus Ember Spirit is really good as well. I've played that matchup before. It's actually quite good. You can break through his Flame Guard really easily. Every time there's a last hit, he's in big danger. And he doesn't have very good escape either, and very low armor. So
and they are getting the Brood again.
Wow, once again with the first phase Brood. I mean, you can't really argue with it after what we saw in the last match.
I felt the synergy was it was actually really cool to see, where you had the Ember Spirit that just picked up the BOTs and then joined on the Spiderlings, and then you suddenly make use out of a lane where Brood, not just by himself, is such a force on a lane once you have Orchids, but then you have Ember that can constantly join, and then it's very, very dangerous to even stick in the area.
Yeah.
And you could see in the game, no one could really just show up. Brood took over the upper half of the map.
Yeah, I thought that was. We were talking about that during the game. I thought it was a great point. That I'm still a little bit dubious on the bot rush on Ember Spirit. Everybody's doing it in almost every game, but that game they got so much value out of it.
Absolutely. No one also just played a fabulous Shadow Fiend that last game.
Yeah.
He had just such a confident and aggressive plays that seemed like he always knew when to go in, knows, okay, I'm going to die here, but I'm going to try to maximize the damage from my Death Ult. Those little mechanics like that really made that a standout performance for me.
I literally don't think that they win that game if he doesn't get that just huge turnaround at 10 minutes, 30 seconds in the mid lane, get that double kill when he was being ganked, and that was the Blink Dagger reveal.
Yeah, absolutely. Oh, and again, the Naga Siren here for Evil Geniuses.
They have a Tusk this time though, so their ganks are going to be a little easier than with Sand King, I feel, because they can gank before Blink Dagger. They can just have a little bit better lanes. They can just do a dual lane with Tusk Naga. I think that's something that they could definitely explore.
So do we feel like this is almost definitely Universe Tusk and a Fear Naga?
I think it's definitely possible. I mean, again, they might not be forced into Naga Siren support. It could be a core, but especially with Fear being new to the position, I don't think it's too ridiculous to imagine that they're just sticking to one hero that he plays really well and that works and is decent at a lot of different things.
Yeah, that would be if there was a concern, right, with Fear switching back into that 4 role. It's how many of the sort of new meta heroes that he's going to be comfortable on. I mean, asking him to take over a Tusk, that's a lot.
Yeah, maybe. And they did a really good job with the dual lane last game as well. He just sat there, he denied against the Brood. He could kill Spiderlings if needed. He assisted his dual lane carry, which was a Luna, to just continue to get more last hits and to be completely safe. And it did exert a lot of pressure on the Brood Mother in the first couple levels and got them into the mid game in a good place.
Chances that EG turn around and go ahead and pick the Storm for Sumail. Is that hero out of the meta?
I think the Bloodstone is too weak at this point. Okay. I mean, Storm Spirit got the nerf on the Ball Lightning, which I think is actually quite big. I'm not the gigantic Storm player, so I can't really comment too much on that. But I do think that all the mana he could potentially get is very important to
it felt like his nerf hurt more than some of the other big heroes on the last patch, like Lina, so to speak.
Let's not forget though, Sumail does play a pretty mean Invoker.
Yeah,
we haven't seen it for a while.
I haven't seen that one.
Or Tinker.
Now that just sounds like wishful thinking to me. I'm not sold on Tinker this patch.
Tinker Laser Rocket against the Queen of Pain middle, no problem.
So the Shadow Fiend ban by Vega here I think is really, really good, because that's kind of the obvious safe pick for both Sumail and RTZ.
Okay. And the support's limited here by EG. They've taken out the Dazzle as well as the Winter Wyvern, one of the comfort picks for Vega in the last match.
Yeah, and don't forget that
for EG.
The CIS teams have experimented with a one-position Lina Illidan, has
Yeah.
played a lot of that hero, but it's very familiar in the region, and it can really spike up in power into the mid game at right the time that they want to take those engagements.
If he is the support, I feel like he's going to have a lot of trouble versus Tuss this game.
I agree.
Because you get on top of him with Snowball, you're pretty much dead. You'll get that stun, Ice Shards, and whatever other follow-up there is, and he will go down. But if it is a safe farming Lina, I feel like it's too early to commit to it, but obviously they're not committed at all because it's just an early pick.
I would say it still depends on the positioning because Lina can just be that turnaround stun as well.
Good point.
So it's just a matter of if you actually are going to be in the fight and where you position yourself, because that follow-up stun can be pretty good.
It's so crazy though. Earthshaker still in the pool.
Yeah, he was first banned in our first game.
And I mean, as much as that hero has moved into predominantly the 3 role, PPD's career record on Earthshaker is ridiculous. I believe he's 26-5.
Jeez.
Wow.
Although the level 1 physical damage got reduced, and he stays level 1 for a long time, so.
True.
The triple melee strat.
It's okay with Snowball.
Does this have to be a core Naga? No. Can you run these first 3, 4, 5 for EG? That seems really awkward.
I don't think it's terrible. I mean, they could sleep set up and get all the melee heroes on top of their opponents, so Lina's positioning is a little bit scarier, things like that. Dealing with Gyrocopter is still something they can do net with sleep. He'll be very by himself. Maybe kill him during that.
Do like the gyro pick here, though.
Yeah,
very
really
strong against the heavy melee lineup.
10 seconds remaining.
Yeah, it's good. BKB stops almost all the damage sources. They can net through it, but that's about it. Punch, I guess.
Yeah.
I would say that Naga can rotate more towards the core role here.
Yeah.
I don't think Gyrocopter is just that good. Flecken is alright to deal with illusions, but
that's a good point.
If you get a decent time radiance, then...
All right, a first timer in the tournament so far. Axe, the 4th pick for EG.
That's actually almost, if not the best brute counter.
4 melee heroes.
It's probably one up there.
He's good against him in lane, right? He can basically counteract the cutting of creeps, or he can cut and force the Brood Mother to deal with the creeps a bit more.
So, okay, so obviously we know that Axe is a core. I don't think they're going to run him 2 or 1. So does this pretty much guarantee us an RTZ Naga?
I want to say yes, looking at how this is shaped.
You know what I would really like to see? I don't know how this is going to fit into Vega's lineup, but I think Timbersaw is actually a legit hero here.
3 strength. It'd be good against Naga Siren too. Oh, well, if she groups her illusions, which she probably won't, but...
You know, I saw Nahaj shudder at the very thought of a Timbersaw earlier, but here I think I would have to agree with you, Hani.
You want a Timbersaw for who, though? You want a Timbersaw for EG?
No, for Vega.
No, for Vega.
For Vega? Who's their supports? You want a queen or a gyro support?
Come on.
Oh, I don't know.
Boots gyro.
Yeah, support gyro is not nearly as good as it was before.
Yeah,
that's true.
But it is a very good Timbersaw game, for sure.
It's not going to happen.
But also,
it won't happen. Yeah. I think Vega needs to grab something that helps him clear Naga illusions in the late game.
I think Witch Doctor's okay here.
What about a Coddle?
I probably would like to see more stun there. Shaker is still there as well, right?
Yeah, that's great against the illusions.
10 seconds remaining.
Yeah,
follow up stun, break up the fights a little bit.
They're not that grouped though. I don't think it's really what they're looking for.
I do like the Rubik ban though. I think that's very smart.
Reserved.
If only they could make a Magnus work in this draft. All that melee is just screaming reverse polarity.
I feel like they just need slows out of Vega now. If they have a lot of slows against their opponents, then...
God, if this were last patch, 4 melee heroes, Techie's the dream.
Yeah, they actually can't kill mines. They can't now.
Now it doesn't matter.
Yeah, exactly.
What a weird draft from EG.
Yeah,
it's actually so bizarre.
I'm still kind of trying to wrap my head around this. I think this is for sure an RTZ mid Naga though.
So what are the other options here for Vega outside of the Shaker? To me, that's the obvious choice. There's got to be something else.
Oh, I was thinking Earthshaker with the 4 melee team does not sound fun.
Yeah, no, against the 4 melee team, yeah.
Boy. And again, if this were 684, this would be an easy Sumail Storm.
It's pretty good versus Lina, yeah. You have to be a little careful, but...
What else are we looking at? I mean, on the side of Vega, the last pick should be a support.
Yeah, I think
it should be, right?
Yeah, I think this is a pretty straightforward Witch Doctor or Shaker.
Shaker might be, yeah.
It's the Shaker. There you go. So great team fight coming out of Vega here. Plenty of stuns, plenty of control, ways to deal with the illusions.
Man, and the TA ban by Vega then.
Has EG ever played with a 5 melee lineup?
at any turn.
Today could be the day.
Yeah, there's always a first for everything.
I don't think Sumail doesn't play many melee aside from Ember though. And this has got to be a Sumail here.
It has to be something I can deal well with the Queen of Pain.
So that's the problem. The obvious Sumail picks, the Storm and Leshrac, are not necessarily what you want here. Wind Ranger?
I mean, could it be like a Viper or something? Not a Sumail hero, but that does deal with the Queen of Pain.
Kind of.
But you don't. That's the problem. You don't need to draft Sumail a Viper. Like, he's going to win the lane anyway.
Good point.
And that's kind of the value of that particular player.
PPD's got something up his sleeve here, boys.
I don't know if EG is feeling good about this one.
Bat Rider! Okay, the Bat Rider. Now, we talked about this earlier in the tournament. Would we see a Bat Rider? And it's picked up by Universe.
And that's a Sumail axe.
So it's a core axe.
Oh my goodness.
Okay.
Wow.
Well,
Axe versus Queen of Pain.
Hey,
that's a tough matchup for the Axe.
EG backs against the wall. This is what you get.
All right. The legendary Universe Bat Rider.
He'll be Soul versus Brood, right?
Yeah, it should be a Naga middle. And then you have the Axe just on the safe lane against the Brood Mother. Depending on how the supports rotate, that should be how they lane.
Well, crazy drafts here coming into Game 2 of our final series. Purge, we're going to start on this side. Who's taking Game 2, EG or Vega?
I'm going to continue to flip-flop. I'm going to go with Vega.
EG.
I'll stick with EG.
Stick with EG? So you guys think we're going to a Game 3?
Oh, yeah.
All right.
Gotta be.
I'm going with Vega. I think they've got the momentum, and I think they've got the draft here.
You're wrong.
All right, we'll see, Nahaz. We'll see. With that, let's throw it to our casters. We've got Toby, Juan, and Merlini for Game 2 of our final series of the night.
Thank you very much. Welcome back to what is definitely one of the most unusual drafts we've seen out from EG in a very, very long time. I know we're kind of saying like how game number 1 was very, very technical. And it's like, I want to see the PPD blog talking about that. I actually want to hear the blog about why they are drafting exactly what they're drafting. Maybe you can just get... You lay the knowledge bomb, Merlini.
Well, let's see. Their lineup is very unusual in the 4 melee, and yeah, let's get into the game. There we go.
Unusual is the new interesting.
I mean, Axe is okay versus Broodmother, but I actually saw this particular matchup last week. It was... No, they banned out the Axe, but I think Broodmother can actually deal with the Axe with the 0-2-3 build.
That's when the funny thing happens. Like, okay, so you talk about like, okay, the Axe is picked up against the Broodmother, and then you're like, okay, well, who's playing it? No, it's Sumail. So Sumail's now running the mid, and we're definitely not having Vega running a Brood in the mid.
Yeah, no, Sumail will switch to the side lane.
So yeah, so Sumail moves down the bottom lane, and then Vega read this, and they switch their lanes up. And they're pushed back to the top lane, and they're leaving their aggro lane down on bottom.
I mean, you always want to pair Brood against the heroes that can't handle it, and the only hero that can't handle it, I guess, is maybe the Bat Rider. I mean, Bat Rider's not that bad versus Broodmother, because you can terrain and fly over, but... So, I don't know. I think Naga's going to not have an easy time at all. Like, one of the lanes going to constantly be pressured by Broodmother, mid lane is going to be the Queen of Pain, and then the other lane is going to be the Gyro Counter lane. So where exactly is she going to farm in the early game? So I'm not even that much worried about the Brood. It's like, where is the Naga Siren going to farm the Radiance? But at the same time, it is one of Artur's best heroes.
Yeah, and Arteezy, like, this was something we talked about too with the diversity of evil geniuses, where you do have like players like Sumail and Arteezy who have, like, Sumail's been getting a little bit more experience in the safe lane ever since the Let's All Kill Sumail era of EG, and so we get a lot more experience on the safe lane from that. Natura is the old mid player for EG.
The creep block on the left side from Clinton. He's using the ice shards to block the creeps in, so this makes the off lane a lot easier, actually.
Yeah. There's been to get a lot of levels as well into the Bat Rider and the Tusker, and Bat Rider is one of these heroes to which people have been very opinionated about, to put it nicely, about the Bat Rider and his position in the world of Dota 2.
I was skeptical, but then I saw level 1 Flame Break on like a 3 or 4 stacked Napalm hero, and it did a lot of damage. Like, he was actually just destroying people at level 3. Generally, I would say you have to wait until like 5 or 6 Napalm stacks or a higher level, but he actually did insane damage with a 1-1-1 build.
So is that the point too when we start to look at the build of Bat Rider, like moving away from the normal Firefly as well as Napalm kind of style?
If you have kill potential, then I think you get 1-1-1. If you don't have kill potential, you can just go a build that can transition to the jungle a lot easier. The Flame Break is like super expensive mana-wise, 140, and I'd say he's like, you know, kind of pressed for mana in lane because you're rushing your Tranquil, so... it just opens up more options. And generally, the jungle is a bad idea in this patch as well as last. So you have to kind of go a laning build most of the time.
I'm interested to see too what's going to happen here with EG, because you were talking about before the fact that Fear, he was doing that little bit of a Tuskar block to give the advantage coming in for someone like the Batrider. Looks like bottom lane too, there's a charge which very wisely PPD will fall back out of, because that Rocket Barrage, they are very tanky heroes, but it's easy damage for Pasha to inflict. But I'm interested to see if Fear goes for the same block that we saw PPD do during TI, that just completely imbalanced the mid lane.
Yeah, at the same time, that particular game, he didn't transition well out of the semi-jungling Tusk, so I don't know if they're going to turn to it again. We saw the Earthshaker actually interrupt the 2-minute stack right here. He fissure blocked, so that Spirit Breaker couldn't pull, so that's kind of cool. They're winning all their lanes because they have the ideal matchup, I would say. Broodmother versus the non-Axe hero, non-Axe lane, Queen of Pain versus the Naga, and then Gyrocopter versus the Axe. So this is really, really good for Vega in the early game.
They actually start the first rotation now. So Sumail has in fact left the lane and has come up to the top. So they've switched the Batrider out. So now that Mag has hit the same sweep point that he hit previously, so we've got actually bottom lane, the Fissure, PPD, the Rocket Barrage, most of it's been soaked up by the creep wave, so a little bit too late on that slave throw out.
Yeah, but they have no creeps. They might go in for the dive here. I don't really know who's going to TP in and save him, but it looks like Batrider is heading down there, but it might be a little bit too late.
They're going to need that Fissure to really stop him though, because PPD could just charge himself out and actually, he gets instantly life strike array on the charge, then Fissure just for good measure, and Vega get first blood.
I mean, Simo was in a perfect position to fissure him off, but I don't think that they would have gotten a kill because Gyrocopter wouldn't have been in range for Rocket Barrage, though. Very nice stun by Solo right there.
And Vega, what a great start as well for this off lane. Like yes, it's the support of Evil Geniuses, but EG are still trying to rotate out to make this matchup work. And you're still looking at a great farm coming in for No One. Like, No One's 26 for 9 on this Queen of Pain. He's almost double the CS of Universe, who was the top CS next to the Naga Siren. It's Arteezy's Naga Siren who's sitting at the same.
Yeah, and if their lanes go poorly, they have 2 heroes, actually 3 that utilize the jungle. Batrider acts as well as the Naga Siren. They are only able to stack up one of the camps 3 times and a couple of the camps 2 times at this moment. And there's not really that much kill potential in the mid lane. Arturo is actually getting pressured pretty hard, but Arteezy almost never gets the early point in snare early.
The SB charge is coming in this time around. If Queen of Pain stayed a little bit longer, then this would work for PPD. But once again, he charges aggressively, but Vega win on positioning, so PPD cannot follow it through.
Yeah, and I mean, Sima already has a TP scroll and will have enough mana for a TP into a fissure very, very soon. Kind of cool he's going the 1-1-1 build, early level and enchant. Maybe, I guess, to stop Spirit Breaker without the use of a fissure, or stop it or TP out if Queen of Pain is trying to gank somebody. Yeah, let's see how Mag is doing versus Sumail. Sumail CS isn't incredibly good, so that means that he's not feeding his Spiderlings.
Yeah.
And he doesn't have an incapacitating bite build because he did start laning versus the Batrider in the early game.
Yeah. So instead he tried to go for a little bit more harassment.
Yeah, but he's
hard
level
to predict.
6. He might go for a kill right now. Like, the level 6 is like really strong versus Axe, and Axe does have a TP scroll, so that's kind of dissuading him.
He does actually have a Spiderling down there scouting for it, so he knows that Sumail is up here all by himself. So you're right, if Mag does want to go for it, he can give it a crack.
Yeah, I mean, he'll just TP out, though. Ideally, you want a Shaker, because then you'll kill him and you'll waste his TP. So he has to walk back the lane afterwards, or jungle, or wherever he be.
But even just burning up that TP and forcing Sumail out of the lane isn't really a bad thing. But Sumail's about to hit level 6 by being up on this top, and Vega spending a little bit more time poking around the mid. They're probably looking to see what EG's up to with their whole stack positioning, because Batrider is now farming that up. And this is something which we have to think back. Like, Universe was one of the greatest Batriders from all of America. So I really want to wait and see when he gets his Blink Dagger timing. They have to prioritize him, just like they did with the SK previously. So like top lane Mag getting called up, in fact, from Sumail, and they're going to trigger the dust, but they don't have enough damage to get through him. All control factors to keep him there, but they do actually bring in rotations for both Sima as well as Solo to this top lane.
Yeah, they didn't even need a TP, and looks like they smoked them. I'm not sure if that was under vision, but Mag was probably inside the smoke, or inside the web, so maybe it doesn't look like it. And Sima and Solo may be looking for a kill. Sumail does have a TP scroll, but he is very close to the tower.
And they can be very confident to take this kill as well, because Pasha, he TPs himself off the bottom lane. When PPD TP'd in, well, hello Queen of Pain, or goodbye, I should say, to Arteezy. But on that bottom lane, when PPD TP'd in, he broke the tree line. And that's why instantly Jara realized that like they're trying to prepare something on the bottom lane, just backs up, and now they switch their lane. So Mag has come down to the bottom lane as this Broodmother, and he'll try and take over basically the raiding in jungle, and if he can, take out that tier 1 tower while EG are on the hunt.
And let's see, no smokes in that lane. Ideally, you want one on the Spirit Breaker, but he is broke. Look at him, 200 gold. I mean,
he spent most of his time rotating around and pulling out of charges. Like, there's been no successful ganks from him, and 1 death to his name.
And let's see, Universe trying to work on that Blink Dagger, but encounters some Mud Golems. That's no good. So, but he'll have pretty good timing. 10 minutes, maybe. 9.5. If he gets lucky spawns. But I mean, they're pressured in all 3 of their lanes. So Sumail looks like he's going to solo dive.
Dead. Like that cooldown, the last rocket. In fact, Seema kill securing. I don't think Pasha will have too much of a problem with that because it just brings the Blink Dagger in a little bit earlier.
Yeah, this is not looking good. Oh, he has a solo kill on top, a solo kill in mid. Oh, I guess top kind of wasn't a solo kill, and Mag kind of free to do whatever he wants, and a super under-level Spirit Breaker, who's not going to be able to tank anything. I think he's okay if he's under farm, but to the point where he doesn't have boots 8 minutes in, although he can fight right now, like he's just going to get blown up with all the spray damage from Gyrocopter, from Lina, from Shaker, from Queen of Pain.
Yeah, like until EG get Blink Daggers, I don't really feel like they got much to work with. What are you going to be using? Snowball to initiate? Like, you'll be coming into all of that from Vega that you were just mentioning. Yeah, so you need that Blink Dagger on Sumail, you need that Blink Dagger over on the Bat Rider so they can start making plays, but even once they have the Blink Dagger, is that enough?
There's no luxury with the with their positioning. Like, all their heroes have to get really close, like Snowball. Oh,
Mag's actually giving this a shot right now. Yeah, he's going to get charged up and just back it out. It's just a little bit of chip love into Sumail.
Yeah. How do you really initiate, though, without lining up for AoE spells? I really don't see it coming out from EG's lineup.
Yeah. Like, normally it would be, like, you actually look at the combination, which I don't want to say Vega have, but the hero, like Lina, like, you lasso back into Light Strike Array, Laguna Blade, you get the quick pick, and then you can move on to something else. That was always the thing of Bat Rider. You flash farm to then set up for someone else to get the kill. But who is that someone else in EG?
Yeah, I would understand if they had like a melee hero like Ember Spirit who, you know, can do damage from range, but from EG's lineup, most of them have to be like super up close, even a ranged hero like Bat Rider. And here we go, smoke.
Yeah, Vega are actually going to initiate into EG. They want to stop this jungling, but the Blink Dagger is there for Universe.
Yeah, but
so if the timing is right, like Naga Siren, you get Fissured, the cooldown's going to come, there's no point in Song of the Siren, that Rocket Barrage connects everything on them, but Sumail moves over, they find Solo, the Blink, the Lasso, charge on the way, Sumail's going to get the double core, locking in Pasha, they get the Culling Blader moving back for the Sonic Wave, just too strong. PPD again has to pull himself out of this charge, but you've still got Universe fighting this one up. He's got a lot of sticky nade bumps, now in comes your Snowball, it's going to be Fear in here, trying to beat into Seema, and they actually go for double heroes. Seema's going to get bashed back by PPD, so he's going to find himself a kill here, and it will be a bit of a trade-off as PPD TP's out. It will be in time. But you've got Fear just trapped in the middle of nowhere. No TP. He's got Snowball. He's actually going after the Queen of Pain. With the shards, there's no blink for 1 second. The charge is on his way, but how far away is he? He's coming from base, and Fear, he's locked inside the river. They can't get the perfects around, but the Rocket Barrage will still do the damage. And do they pull out of the charge? He's going to have to anyway. That Queen of Pain's a long way away.
Yeah, she was deceptively tanky. I mean, look at her items right now. It's only 10 minutes in, and she has 1,000 gold on top of having 1,200 HP, and Fear thought he could take him down, but Fear was only, I think, level 5 at the time, and just not enough damage to handle her.
And then you find yourself now in a 4-on-2 trade-off in favor of Vega Squadron, heavily in favor. Like, their advantage has already gone beyond 4,000 net worth and 2,000 experience.
Yeah, I think a lot of it comes down to the guesswork with the lanes, though. Like, can they actually pair Brood in a favorable matchup? And this game and last game, they guessed correctly. And it seems like a small deal, but you want to start to force the opponent to be, you know, TPing around and under-leveled. And then when Axe actually matches up versus the Brood, Brood has a lot more farm as well as, like, 1.5 level advantage, which swings it definitely in Brood's favor.
And so now we're looking at Vega in a fantastic position. An EG in a lineup which is now starting to get these Blink Daggers. So we get a Blink over on the Bat Rider and a Blink over on the Axe. You have Song of the Siren up for Arteezy, but He doesn't really have much presence beyond that. And level 6 has arrived now for Fear. So you got Walrus Punch available, and the Spirit Breaker has now the Strike. So EG, they've hit all their ultimates, they smoke up, but the first time they do it underneath a dire Observer Ward. That little guy right there was the one that was able to scat it all out. So you've already lost your bottom tower. Mag backs up, because he understands they smoked up for him. And Vega will in fact smoke up on the top lane, probably waiting for EG to come and defend this, and then they're going to pounce.
Yeah, they actually, I think, expected a smoke top, or else they wouldn't be in this positioning. They want Gyro baited out, and then he just dropped all the damage on top of him, and then all the AoE comes in, and they would, I think, actually get team wiped unless the Naga Siren Seek comes in, but Naga Siren's not with them. So it looks like he'll be going the new school build with Arcane into Radiance, I believe, into an Octarine later. It's the post-Octarine build, but I mean, it's coming out super late. Generally, you can rely on the Bottle Crow, but with Bottle being a little bit nerfed, maybe not the best choice this game, but I mean, his Radiance is going to be really late.
It's almost going to be non-effective. Like, you pick up the Radiance, but the Illusion's going to get cleaned up so quickly that... Like, even the support heroes from Vega are capable of cleaning up that.
Yeah, I mean, you still get the farm, though, from doing use, so it's not so bad. They just have to... Vega, the only way they lose control of the mid-game right now is if, like, I'd say 3 of them get caught by a call, and all of them, like, they're big AoE heroes. So I think that all they need to do is...
But even then, where's the follow-up? Like, you're getting not only call, but, like, 5 spins in the middle of that call to actually find the damage output to find a kill.
Yeah, I mean, you can snowball them, you can kind of lock them in place with ice shards and charge through them, so it's a long shot. Yeah. I'm not saying it's easy to wipe them.
You're remaining Mr. Positive. I'm sorry, I shouldn't be bringing you down right now.
But they're still not really pressuring Artur that much. They still have really good vision on the bottom lane. They still have their mid tower, so they still have most of their jungle accessible to them. I would say probably the left 3 camps are pretty free for them. Let's see how many smokes Vega has. They have 1 smoke left and none in their inventory, so probably just waiting a little bit, maybe like Shaker to get his Blink Dagger, Broodmother to get her first item after the Hand of Midas. Let's see, what build do you go for on Brood here? That's a pretty tough one. I don't think that
would it almost be worth
as useful this game as last. Worth it for her.
I'm actually just wondering if you can find a little bit more tankiness. Like, they're all going to run in on him. I'm not going to, like, say, like, you just go, like, SMY or something like that, but maybe you can make EG's teamfight even more chaotic by building something like a Necro Block. Gives you your push power and gives you control over EG.
Yeah, I think it's pretty good here, and it's also, they can just take down towers, which I think is very useful, but like a BKB build, you don't want to really go for a BKB build. You're okay with them killing you as long as your other heroes there are there to get a rebuttal. What other items are there? Like Manta, I don't think is particularly good here.
You're not really going to break free of anything.
I would say Vlad's is actually decent, so they can do Roche. They don't have that great Roche potential right now, and like Naga Siren is not in a position to contest Roche.
He could try and go for the old counter to the Brood, to the Bat Rider, because like you might just look and say, okay, he's kind of like your initiator. Could you get something like a Yule Scepter that could just take the Bat Rider out? So Mail is totally dead. Getting caught out farming the Dire jungle. A simple movement from Vega.
You do want a Yules to counter the Bat Rider, but that's what Lena's job is for, I would say. Or even an Earthshaker Fissure, or a BKB on your Gyrocopter and Queen of Pain. I don't think
so. You just use other things then. Mag, well, there's your dust. Finds all the Brood Link. They will pull him back here, and now Fear. They've got to get good control, and they've got it. The cooldown will arrive from the Gyro, but it's just a little bit too late to really do anything about it. So EG able to find their 3rd kill on the board.
Yeah, he's still not really sure what to go because charge is a slight problem for him. Generally, like versus like a Bat Rider, you might get a Blink Dagger, or sorry, not a Blink Dagger, a Manta style. If he does you just Manta and run away. And on top of that, you have like illusions that might make him lasso, because you can't like wait. Oh, let me attack the solution and see if it's a illusion.
You have to make a decision.
Yeah, so I think without the Spirit Breaker, it'd be a good build. With the Spirit Breaker though, he's going to have to get a BKB at some point. I'm just not sure when. I would say Vlad's into Roche and then transitioning
He's going to need life. No one's already finished up a full Aghanim after 16 minutes into this game. This Queen of Pain's going to be pumping out level 2 Sonic Waves every fight.
So they're still relying on Artur to carry this late game. Radiant status, 2200 of like 50, what, 2?
It's taking time.
It's getting there.
But Vega's actually not inflicting as much damage as I thought they would early on. Like the Broodmother, yeah, they're definitely finding farm, and economically they're inflicting a lot. Like it's still a 5,000 gold advantage, but the experience is only like 2.5. and you've only lost 2 Tier 1 towers for EG. So it's not as damaging as it could be
from both teams,
for
actually.
EG.
Is under attack.
Yeah, this is EG trying to find Pasha farming himself up inside the jungle. And his positioning is perfect. He's going to break the smoke and instantly get the information. Samel, they go for the battle hunger, and there's that blink, and then drag it back with the lasso. But a 4-man fissure from Seema buys space for Pasha. They all snowball in. They really wanted that gyro dead. And then the charge over the Echo Slam, cancelling the charge from the Spirit Breaker. The Earthshaker fighting inside the fire until no one arrives. A huge Sonic Wave, getting himself a double kill. The Light Strike Array, there's going to be more than that. The Spirit Breaker's popping, a triple kill for no one. He had an amazing game 1, and he may have just put a nail in the coffin of EG here in game 2.
Yeah, that's the problem. You kill a very high priority hero, granted gyrocopter, and Pasha was in a fantastic position to pop that smoke. Ideally, you'd have a vision up that high ground, so you don't miss the blink, but they had a blink in blindly. But that's the thing, you kill one hero, they likely get their AoE spell off, and then everyone else just dies. That was only with Echo and I think Queen and Dragon Slave. So once they get like BKB on Gyro or like a blink on Earthshaker, that sort of initiation is going to be very difficult without BKBs of their own.
This is brutal for EG now. So, well, it's just going to be a real hard time. We can actually look at just how hard it was. You commit everything you've got to ensure this, and then the huge space made by Seema. You snowball in. There's no way out. You have to try and fight him, and then Seema with the Echo Slam as well. PPD has basically been a non-factor.
Oh, 4-man quad ulti. Oh man.
And his teammate bought him all the space. Like, it's the Queen of Pain. She is the ultimate KS'er.
Still, their win condition is Naga's having getting big, and she has 3,900 gold, so Relic, and then Radiance probably, what, 21 minutes? That's not such a bad time.
It's not bad. Can it win the split push, though? Like, that is the question. So let's actually look at it. So we break it down. How did EG win this game?
Look at Mag's items.
Yeah, Mag is actually building a Radiance of his own.
I mean, I think their win
unless he's thinking Abyssal Blade, which is highly unlikely.
Vega's, I think, is control Roche, get Gyro, like, just massive to the point where if he gets lassoed, you don't really care. If he gets, like, lasso charged into Nether Strike, into Walrus Punch, he still lives. That's what you wanted to. And Queen of Pain getting a BKB at some point. And, of course, Lena getting Yules to deal with Bat Rider. So all these items on all their heroes. But at the same time, they don't really have that much farm on everyone. Seema still pretty far away from Blink. Solo only one component of the Yule Scepter. So these cores are taking up most of the farm because they haven't transitioned to many towers at all.
You're right. You really need to have that Blink Dagger over on Seema if you're going to properly try and take this fight. Then again, Seema also proved in the last one. It's not always necessary.
Yeah, I don't know if this lead is big enough. It's only 7,500 versus a Naga who's closing in on Radiance.
Blink lasso, the charge is coming in over on Pasha, and that is going to be followed up by Samel. A perfect call, and they shoot out a Culling Blade him down, but in comes no one, the Sonic Wave. They've already lost the axe, and PPD will try and run himself out this one. The Shards making some space, they have another stun, they have to commit Echo Slam, and it'll be enough. Queen of Pain, again, more kills, 704 on no one. He's got half of the kills that Vega have managed to claim, and he's looking for more. The Shadow Strike into the Tusker, who jumped into the tree line. He does have Snowball, but he's got no vision, so they Song of the Siren, but the Fisher, Tusker, he can't walk out. Fear is actually, no, is there a gap? No, there's not. He snowballs, no one knows this. He blinks himself up to force Fear to come closer towards Vega. You might punch him, but she'll punch her straight back. That is now 15-6, and no one, 804, 124 CS. It's the dream. Well, Nag took out the bottom tower and finishes Radiance.
They still get the gyro kill though, so not the end of the world. So Mag with the Radiance, it's hard to transition out of the Radiance, I suppose. Like, you're not going to be able to split push as effectively as a Naga because you don't have illusions on command. But with the newly buffed Manta, it's probably decent for him. And no Song of the Siren, so no chance of them contesting this Roshan.
Yeah.
I mean, generally against a Bat Rider, you're pretty scared, but with no Song of the Siren, with Vega being probably close to 10,000 gold ahead right now, it's not really that big of an issue. So Earthshaker has kind of foregone the brown boot Blink Rush. I think it would have been okay for him to actually go for the Blink at this juncture, especially with the Roshan gold, but deciding that the Arcane is a little bit better. And Radiance is like a very old school build, and Mag's been playing Dota for a long time. And you can draw from like the Yasha build, the Orchid build, the BKB Rush, the Necro. There's so many builds for Broodmother, and deciding that it's probably going to be a rather slow game, I would say, going like the pure farming Midas Radiance.
Yep. Because he'll have all the time in the world to build into his next big item. So if he does want to go for like what we were talking about, the more of a pushing kind of style, because Vega still need to find a way to end this game. Like, do you really want to, like, it's not a fun experience coming up into EG's base when you can get locked in by shards. You can get lassoed underneath tier 4 towers. You can get Song of the Siren, the buybacks will just control you up. You've got Spirit Breaker charges, blink calls. All these kind of things could cause you real problems when you're also fighting into a disadvantaged position.
I think the secret to a lot of team success in the most recent patches is having the right timing for the high ground push, and I think Vega has kind of found that right balance of farm versus pushing at the right time. And Broodmother, I think going for a different build, this game exemplifies that. With the Orchid to gain more map control, you can't really get that much map control versus Naga Siren, so you kind of have to counter a farm with more farm. And this way she can transition way better out of the dominant laning phase into a man fight phase.
Looks like Seema's going to get scouted out. He was up here with no one. Just one Naga illusion. The Radiant Spoon's going to do the work. We could actually be looking like Miracle-style Dota right now, where you just have Arteezy finding so much farm, so much split. PPD is this rogue element up inside the dire tree lane on the top lane at the moment. But he might have to charge himself down to bottom lane because the Firefly starts, they trigger the dust, but Universe too far away from Mag, and Pasha just triggers the phase boost. He wants to try and chase after that Bat Rider, but he doesn't find the opportunity. So both teams will end up backing out.
And looks like Pasha's going a straight tank build with the SNY and the BKB. This is the build that you go for if you're really scared of dying, like Bat Rider initiation into Nether Strike and all this stuff that can just burst you down from 100 to 0 without the help of a Glimmer Cape. I think generally like a HOD build.
Top lane. Here comes that charge at the moment. They go into the Nether Strike. That Blink Daggering Tuskar is Fear on his way, and all he has to do is just jump himself up and then just go for the punch. But he'll snowball in, and that's an instant kill over on Seema. While inside the Radiant jungle, Solo puts his Yule Scepter to work and catches out the Naga Siren with the Laguna Blade to ensure the kill on Arteezy.
Yeah, no, they might actually get some damage on that bottom tower. Gyro is kind of in a position to attack it, but do you really want to get lasted in the base? Not that great.
Yeah. Should also flag too the fact that Arteezy didn't lose any money from that death. He bought his BTs before he died, so everything was saved.
This farm's transitioning really well.
Bat Rider. Yes, he got Mag, dragging him back as far down as he possibly can. He doesn't have any real sticky napalm stacks on him, only one. In fact, Samel's going to get caught out as well by Pasha and Solo for 2 minutes before the Aegis gets reclaimed.
Generally, you're okay with being behind at this point in the game if you're EG, because Sumail generally has a really well-scaling core, but they picked him a hero that is very unusual for Sumail, like a melee hero that's not Ember, and I don't really see him having that much of an impact later game. He has Blink and Force Staff. Sometimes, most of the time, it's like, you know, Storm Spirit or like 6.8 for Leshrac or Wind Ranger, you know, someone that can just completely own if given space to farm for 10 minutes. But Axe, you don't really care if he gets farmed at all.
Yeah, you really don't. And Vega, like, even if he does get farmed, you're so far in front. You've already finished a full Octarine core on this Queen of Pain. No one is so farmed right now. The BKB for the Gyro, like, everything is basically here. You don't need much more apart from the Blink Dagger on the Earthshaker is the only thing you really require.
Easy ult on agents. I mean, it's worth it.
It's money, dude.
They just need more money.
Yep, and then that finished up Gyro's BKB.
Yeah, they need a lot of sustain though to push high ground. Like, if you want to push high ground versus Naga, you need like incredible lane push out potential, which is kind of done with the Broodmother Radiance. You need a lot of sustain in form of like mech, maybe like HOD for some lifesteal, Urn, like they have on Lena, maybe a pipe at some point so you can break it.
Oh, Universe. He really wants to try and have a crack at Solo now. They may not realize the Broodmother's behind him, but they might actually finish the job as well before anyone can arrive. So yep, Solo will pop. And now they dust it out. They actually see Mag at the same time. Sumail still around here. He 4-stars up and they Song of the Siren. They stop Vega from getting any advantage to take the one kill and get the hell out.
Yeah, level 11 Naga Siren, so that's pretty good. I thought he might be level 10 at that point, and then they might try and do some damage to the tower. But Aegis expiring in like 10 seconds. Very risky proposition. But Lasso down, Naga Siren ult down.
But at the same time, you can't get a creep wave up the hill. Like between Shards and Riptide, like actually getting a creep wave up the ramp to turn off the backdoor regen is quite difficult.
That is the big question here, Toby.
And then you start the split push from EG. Like, Sumel's like, because you do actually have a really maneuverable lineup from EG. Like, with all the Blink Daggers, like, you got 3 Blink Daggers, 2 Force Staffs, Spirit Breaker's got Charge and Nether Strike, and Nagasaren's got BTs. If they can find some vision, or at least predict where Vega's moving across the map, they can make themselves some space to push, and then potentially delay up Vega to a point where the Broodmother starts to drop off. I don't think we'll get to a point where the Gyro and the Queen of Pain starts to drop off, or the Lina doesn't start becoming bigger.
I kind of like the Octarine core coming out from Queen of Pain. I think a lot would turn to a BKB at this point to kind of not die during the initiation from Batrider, but I think Octarine actually serves much of the same purpose because it gives you a huge HP.
Oh, here they come. Oh. Can they find the opening? There's the Blink call over from the Queen of Pain. PvD pushing back Pasha, and then the BKB will be triggered. There's no cooldown right now, but there's also no Axe. There's no Spirit Breaker. There's no Tusker. They just died so easily as they just run into Vega's lineup. There's just no damage from EG once they initiate.
Queen is so over-leveled at this point. Like, having that level 3 ult with Scepter at this point, it just took off like half of Axe's HP as well as...
And it's back off cooldown. It's 8 seconds time. Like, they can just do it all over again. They did that fight without cooldown.
Yeah, EG knew they were getting like super Alphar, so they kind of had to make a move, but who do you really jump at this point? Pasha went full defensive build. We have no one with 2100 HP. And then if you don't kill him, he's just going to life steal everything back up with a Sonic Wave immediately after and a Scream.
Well, I don't want to call it, but it actually feels like this game is over. You're going to get everyone back up now. EG have one last roll of the dice. You can Nagasong, like Nagasar and Split Push to your heart's content. You just finished the Blink Dagger on the Earthshaker as well. It's going to fly all the way out from base. But Vega, they just took out your top racks after what was a very unstressful fight for Vega on top lane.
I think this series might set a precedent for first phase Brood ban versus Vega.
Yeah, I agree. They've really just shown how solid Mag is on this hero, and the presence not only he has, but the space he ends up creating for everyone else, because teams just, maybe with this new patch too, is a lot more difficult to deal with the Broodmother.
Yeah, you can kind of see where EG is going with the lineup, though. They have the Spirit Breaker to just charge the Brood, and then Dust when you get close. They have the Batrider to traverse the terrain with a gem to catch out the Brood, but it doesn't really matter. By the time like the Batrider gets a Blink Dagger, the Brood has already done the damage.
Here they go. They're going after Mag. No one's still there, and lets the Sonic Wave for him. Oh my! Fear dies almost instantly. Batrider, look at PPD. Still on full life and just TP straight out again. They've lost Universe as well. Another failed gank and another open ticket for Vega just to push the mid lane.
Vega pick up the gem.
So goodbye Vision. Earthshaker is because he came in with the dunk too. Like, but a simple blink forward to a finisher stun will be enough of initiation for no one to finish this. His Sonic Wave's off cooldown again with a double damage, and there it is. GG under 30 minutes. 22 is the unlucky number here for EG. It was 22-0. Over a year ago, and now it's 22-8. Vega will eliminate EG, and for the first time, they don't find themselves in the ESL One final.
Yeah, not respecting the Brood after game number 1 is a questionable decision, and they drafted, theoretically, some Brood counters, but just...
It's like they drafted all the Brood counters that were all off-laners, and there was no one else to fill the other roles at the same time. Like, the matchups just felt very weak at the end of the day.
Yeah, and I think moving Sumail off or to a hero like Axe is not a great recipe for them, but a very impressive victory by Vega. I think they have stuck together as a team, which I think is already worth complimenting after not failing, not qualifying for TI, but the level of play that they've come to, I think they show that they're a tier 1 European team where there are not many anymore.
Yeah, and they're such an underpraised team as well. Like, Vega was always that team that you'll see floating around at the bottom of the tier 1 kind of ranking system. Maybe they qualify for some finals, but it'll be like lower ranking kind of competitions. But I think really, like, No One and Mag, they've really shown today just how solid they are in their lane positioning. Like, these guys should deserve a lot more respect than what they get. Seema's move as well with his Earthshaker, his movement around the map was always spot on too. There's so much talent in this Vega lineup that I don't think IG's going to have a very easy time tomorrow either.
Yeah, no one has, I think, developed a lot in the past few months. I think he hadn't played in too many lands prior to the TI play-ins, and you look a little bit nervous there, but after seeing him online and at this ESL, he is incredible.
Yeah, he really is an amazing player. Of course, EG, it was an unusual kind of game for them. This is their first official game since TI 5, at ESL One quarterfinals. They got more competitions coming up. And I'm interested to see how they also iron it out, because there was question marks coming in for like Secret, their whole brand new roster. How are they going to function? They played more online games. We had a little bit more information coming into this series. But EG, like they swap out AUI to bring in Artur. And how was that all going to function? Currently, maybe a couple of bumps down the road.
And the post-TI doldrums for the champions.
All right, for now, we're going to say goodbye from the caster's desk, but don't go anywhere because we're switching over to Dakota, who is with the winners with Vega Squadron.
I'm here with Mag from Vega Squadron. Mag, huge win right there. You pulled out one hell of an upset. Do you think that you guys were the underdog coming into this fight, or were you confident that you were going to be able to knock EG out?
We was not totally sure that we can win them, and at the start we was feeling like we're a bit unlucky that we got such a strong enemy in the first round. But we was feeling very confident in both games, and my team did a great job, and we won the series.
Mag, I've been watching you play way too much Broodmother this past week for Nanyang, and here you can now go for it for a first pick. Do you actually like playing Broodmother, or is this just something that seems to work with you guys?
I was practicing a lot with Brood lately, and it fits very good in our strategies. I don't know, but I like to play this hero, yeah.
Well, you can tell. It's very impressive. Now, this means that you're going to be moving on to the next round of the semis to face Invictus Gaming. What do you think about your matchup against them?
It will be a clutch. I know what to say.
Don't underestimate them. That's for sure. All right, one more time. Let's give it up for Mag and Vega Squadron. It's one hell of an upset. I'm going to go ahead and throw it back to our experts over at the Alpha Draft Analyst Panel. Take it away, guys.
Thank you so much, Dakota. My oh me, what an upset for our final series, boys. Vega not only beating EG, but besting them 2-0. Not too many of us saw this one coming.
Especially after how Game 1 was going. Again, we thought that EG was going to win Game 1. It ended up being a Vega win, and Game 2 was just super stomped. But I really felt like it was a drafting issue. They kind of put themselves in the corner. They grabbed the Naga Siren as the second pick, and it gave them the possibility of doing a support or a carry. But I feel the real mistake was when they put the Spirit Breaker in as their third pick. They already committed themselves to 3 melees, and then they were like, wait, we haven't gotten a Brood counter yet. We need to get a Brood counter, and then and it had to be a Sumail hero at that point. And then they had to take an Axe or a Sand King or something like that, and Sumail took Axe, and now they have 4 melee. And once they're in that corner, their lanes were not very variable, they weren't very strong, and it just was not the game that they actually wanted to play, but they were forced into due to the weird picks.
Yeah, I mean, the more I think about it, the more you just... EG is one of those teams that they tend to be very well prepared. They tend to scout the opponent pretty well. And, you know, this is not the first time that we've seen, as Dakota alluded to on stage, Mag on Brood is just very frightening. And none of those issues that you talk about are really that bad if you don't let the Brood through in the second game after you just got absolutely killed by it in Game 1.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I guess another aspect next to the 4 melee strat that they were running is that Naga died one-on-one in middle lane.
Yeah,
true.
I do think obviously the matchup favors the Queen of Pain, but
I think we have that replay here.
Yeah. This is one of the other times they were pressuring the Naga Siren. They got a solo kill on him, and then they also translated to doing a lot of pressure. This is 9.5 minutes. He's still very far away from Radiance.
Yeah, you see the Bat Rider come in and try and turn things around. It almost looks good for EG for a moment as they get the counter kill, but then the Queen of Pain unleashes the ultimate, and things just get worse for Evil Geniuses from this point.
Yeah. No, I mean, I think it's a fight that really tells the story of the early game, because Vega invested a lot of resources into pressuring that Naga Siren, and it really paid off. I mean, Sumail's not on one of those heroes that he gets snowball on.
Yeah, absolutely. It seemed like Vega were just in control of this game out of the gate, though. They had a 4-0 advantage, and here we'll see another fight with Fear having some fun in the Roche Pit. Moves in onto No One, and again, it looks like EG are going to be able to make something happen here, but No One able to juke and jive, blinks away in the nick of time, and again, Vega able to turn this one around.
Surprisingly, this was one of the better fights that EG had this game, which was maybe the sad part. They lost 4 for 2 there. They still did get some kills. They had a glimmer of hope where they looked strong, but you know, that was about it. They would get a kill here, a kill there, maybe kill Brood occasionally, but it wasn't much.
But it really showed how consistent Vega played that series in both games. I mean, I would say in the first game that to me EG had the better draft. At least I felt they outdrafted them laning wise. I felt very comfortable about their picks. Second game obviously not as as predictable with the drafting phase, but Vega definitely played amazing in this series.
Yeah,
and I don't think anyone expected this.
No, I really, if we take one thing home tonight, I really hope that that's the story. That this to me was a series about Vega playing really, really well, and they did not. EG did not give them this series. Vega reached out and they took it, and I think they are a great team, and I think if they win tomorrow, that they are worthy of a direct invite to the major.
Absolutely. So with that, let's check in on the Alpha Draft leaderboards one final time tonight to see how day one squared up for ESL. And here we go. Weehaw still at the top of the charts, and well, things haven't really changed too much since we last checked in that quick 2-0 series.
We have some new top 5 winners, though.
Yeah, absolutely. Sandy B leading the boards, tied up with
Pongsapak.
Pongsapak, yes, indeed. Thank you.
Good for them.
Earn real money.
Indeed. Earn real money indeed. So, wow, what a day indeed. But this is only the halfway point. We've got a full day of Dota tomorrow, 2 more best of 3s, and then, of course, into the best of 5 finals. It's going to be another great day of Dota. I want to talk about these matchups just a little bit here. We're going to preview them. We've got Secret versus CDEC, and then we've got Victus Gaming versus Vega. Initial thoughts, Nahaz, about the matches tomorrow?
I can't wait for that first series. I think Secret CDEC is just going to be a fireworks show. You know, that Secret team showed us today that they're on the same page. They're coming in here playing some really good Dota, and CDEC showed some rust. And I really do feel like if they don't step up their game going into tomorrow, that Secret's going to take that series.
Yep. Kai, what are you thinking looking at those semis?
I mean, I'm actually very excited and looking forward to Vega Squadron. They really surprised me in this last series, and I just want to see if they can continue on that tomorrow, because that usually is like maybe something that you won't expect from a team like that. That yes, they have a great performance one day, but can they actually keep up and continue? Eventually maybe winning this tournament.
Absolutely.
I think all 4 teams all have the potential to win the tournament. They're all very strong. They're maybe coming from different places, different rosters and things like that, but I think they could all win their matches and ultimately take the finals. Just comes down to how the best of 3s go, really.
Yeah, absolutely. So a cutthroat tournament, half of the teams eliminated here on day 1, but fret not. We've got plenty more Dota coming up tomorrow, folks. Same place, same time. ESL One New York 2015 will continue. We'll see you there.